Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to the discussion about the business opportunities, innovation, and campus creativity base. With us, 6 Group of Entrepreneurship course with the member Dias Kuraton Ayuna, Nazun Solihanurin, and Faisal Fasli Akmal. Now, we would like to talk about the definition of production, the production process, raw materials, human research, machine research, production costs, and production controlling. Let's start the material. First is introduction. A good production system is a system that can produce a product as expected. It can be measured by, first, the ability to produce based on customer needs. Second, the ability of company resources. And the third, the expectation of entrepreneurs as owners and maybe as managers. On the first phase of production, we should planning the production process of our product. The description of the product's characteristic, making it easy to arrange the need of materials, labor, machinery or equipment, production location, and cost needed in the production process. It will be also easier to determine the production system that will be applied in producing the intended product. In a production system, there are 3 components. The first is input, and then process, and the last output. Here is the production definition. First is the definition of production as an output of goods and services. Based on Asauri 1993, production is activity to create or add utility goods or services. And based on Rexo Di Projo and Kito Sudarmo 2003, the production is activities to produce goods and services based on consumers' need in terms of quantity, quality, price, and time. And then the production definition as an input from Prawiro Santono 1997 is production is produce the production of an item from various other materials. And based on Sofian 1999, the process that transforms input into output in the form of goods and services. Next is the definition of production as a process. Based on Ahyari 1990, production is a method or technique to increase the usefulness of goods and services using existing production factors. And now, we could generalize it in the entrepreneurship that production is activities for creating or aiding the use of goods or services by using factors of production such as labor, machinery, raw materials, and funds in order to produce product needed and expected by consumers.
The need of production process. Before doing production process, first we need to plan the need of facilities and infrastructure that will be used in produce product. These facilities and infrastructure that is often called as input of production that include first material, then workforce, machines or equipment, and the last is location and cost or money. For the raw materials, in arranging the need of raw material to be used in production process. It must be referring to product characteristics that will be produced. The restraint in providing raw material, mainly in businesses that we use primary agriculture results as the raw material, it is important to be done because the primary agriculture results has characteristics that if it is not restrained will cause financial loss for the business. The kind of material to be used by business in production process can be differences become direct material and non-direct material. Direct material is material that be used in production process and bound or become a part in the product. Non-direct material is material that is not become part in product but it really need to support production. And requirements to choose raw material, the first one is good quality, the second is easy to get, and the third is easy to process, and the last is the price is relatively cheap. Then we discuss one by one. The first is good quality. To get the good quality of the product, it is need material that also good quality. Besides that, the use of raw material that is good quality enable to do storage in long time period. In order to guarantee the quality of raw material, the business must do the selection of raw material sources. Check when buying process, handling when transporting, check when receiving in business, and handling in storage and investigation. And the second is easy to get. The raw material that is needed in production must be get every time in the amount that is suitable with the need. The third is easy to process. The raw material that is used must easy to process because it has consequence in production cost and influence the selling price of product. If the raw material is difficult to process, the cost to produce will be high and vice versa. And the last is the price is relatively cheap. The raw material that will be used in production process must relatively cheap means that the raw material that is needed, the price is not more than the price in market generally. Consequence from the cheap raw material make the production cost is low and the selling price can lower than the rival. And aspects that must be considered before taking decision to produce raw material by itself are as follow below. The first, what materials that be the part of the biggest component of product that is produced, and then till where the providing of the material in market every time and how supplier provide it. The third, how the providing of the material in the future. The next is by providing the material itself, it can be more efficient rather than material from supplier. And the last is business has enough source to provide material by itself.
Workforce. Workforce or human resource are important sets of the company. In the production process, workforce is the driving force behind the production process. Companies often assume that to get workers is easy enough on the grounds that everyone is considered to need work and often overrides the importance of workforce, so that many production workers are employed on jobs that are not in accordance with their abilities and expertise. Next, the types of workforce used by companies basically consist of wage workforce and family workforce. For wage workforce is workers who are bound by work relationship with the company, where each party has rights and obligations. Wage workforce can be classified as permanent workforce, temporary workforce, and contract worker. For permanent workforce is workers who regularly obtain their rights such as wages and leave, legally has the power. The company cannot act arbitrarily against it. For For example, by terminating work relationship or lay off unilaterally. Then, temporary workforce is workers who don't have rights and obligations on a regular basis. Generally, they will lose certain rights if they don't work. And next, contract workers who carry out certain work according to the agreement with clear provisions regarding the volume, time, and price of the job. Next, family workforce. Family workforce is workers who came from family environments who generally don't get paid work. This type of workforce is widely used in small companies or companies that are still on household scale. Generally, family workforce is only limited to the responsibility in helping the family. Some things that need to be anticipated in terms of workforce are the emergence of various obstacles which are basically caused by: first, the absence of workforce capability standards, because information regarding the ability of workforce is only based on predictions that are generally subjective. Second, workforce is human beings that can't be treated mechanically, such as machines that can be adjusted. Third, the availability of workforce according to needs is very limited. That's why companies need to do workforce planning, such that the company's workforce needs in the present and the future are in accordance with the existing workforce. Next, we are going to talk about machine or equipment. For machine and production equipment in terms of quantity, type, capacity, and other specifications should have been identified where the product overview to be produced has been determined. The consequence that must be borne by company is the cost or depreciation that must be borne by the company. In placing production machine or equipment in the production room, there are 7 basic principles that need to be considered by the company. There are the principle of integration. The placement of machine or production equipment can integrate all factors of production, such as materials, workforce, machinery, equipment, etc., so as to produce harmonious cooperation. Next, the principle of shortening motion. Placement of machine or production equipment doesn't make workforce move more from one machine to another machine. The third principle is the principle of smoothing the flow of work. The placement of machine or production equipment can guarantee the smooth flow of materials in the process without any obstacle. The next principle is the principle of efficient and effective use of production rooms. The placement of production machinery or equipment is placed in accordance with the area of production room owned by the company. Next, the principle of safety and job satisfaction. The placement of machinery or production equipment in the production room can guarantee the safety and comfort of the workforce. The principle of flexibility. The placement of machine or production equipment can be adjusted if at any time changes are needed. Then, the last principle is the principle of sustainable production process. The placement of production machinery or equipment doesn't impede the sustainability of the production process. Production machinery or equipment used must always be maintained so that the production process can run smoothly as expected. There are several ways that can be done by companies in efforts to maintain production machinery or equipment. First, breakdown maintenance, that is, maintenance carried out after the machine or production equipment is damaged. Second, planned maintenance, that is, maintenance that is carried out on a scheduled basis. Third, preventive maintenance, that is, maintenance carried out by taking into account the service life of minutes on production machinery or equipment. Last, the company also must always pay attention and follow technological developments related to the use of machinery or production equipment. The use production machinery or equipment with the latest technology will result in better product quality and faster production process with greater capacity. Companies that don't keep up with technological developments will tend to experience difficulties in competing with competitors who have used the latest technology.
Now, we would like to talk about the production cost. Production cost is economic sacrifice required to obtain products, goods or services, or expenses incurred in the present in order to benefit in the future, where spending or sacrifice were foreseeable and quantifiable and cannot be avoided. Based on the behavior, there are two types of cost. The first is fixed cost. That is, the cost is not dependent on the size of the production, and in a certain period the amount remains. For example, is cost for fixed labor salaries, toll depreciation, land taxes, and etc. And then the second is variable cost. The size of the cost is directly related to the size of production, or in other words, the cost in a certain period, the amount can change depending on the level of production produced. For example, the cost for purchasing raw material, wage, tool for piece labor, and etc. Then, there are also the other type of costs. The first is direct costs. Costs that are directly bound or become a principal part of the product produced. For example, costs for direct material costs and direct labor costs. And the second is indirect costs. Costs that are not used to produce products, or costs that are not bound to the principal part of the product produced. For example, indirect material costs and indirect labor. And the third is general cost. Is a cost incurred for the administration of the company and public office. For example, the cost to pay leaders and employees, office rent, office equipment, and so on. Now it's about the production process. There are 4 types of production process. The first is chemical process. The processing of materials into products based on the chemical properties of the material being processed. And then second is changing from process to material processing into finished product or semi-finished by changing the shape of the material into a more useful form. And then the third is assembly process. The process of combining the component of the product into more useful product. And the fourth is transportation process. The process of moving the product from the source or place of origin to the place where the product is needed. And then there are also 2 types of the production process. That is continuous process. The input current continues through standardized production system to produce a homogeneous product. The resulting product from is standard and does not depend on consumer specification. The purpose of production is generally for supplies and then market. Second is discontinuous process. The process that usually produces different products, different procedure, and sometimes even with different input. The shape of the product is adjusted to the consumer's order. The purpose of production is to serve consumers' order. Then, production controlling. There are 4 important controls that should be held in the production. The first is purchase control. It is important so that purchases made by companies related to the production process are more efficient or cost effective. In purchasing control, this involves several interrelated factors, namely quantity, quality, price, time, and service. Second is inventory control. It is important because it is need to be done so that costs incurred for storage can be controlled. And the third is production control, so that the production process can run smoothly on time and produce product in quantity and quality as planned. And last is quality control, which is carried at every stage of the process that aims to prevent any deviation from the product quality standards that have been set. That is the quality control. I think that's all from us. Thanks for your attention. If you have any question, you can type in the discussion forum. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.